Now, there's different ways you can do it. Some web speakers like to put everything into the themes, right? So they can address this guy's points under a theme. But extensions are usually pretty strong in higher level debates, and they might be really, really important in a round. So another thing you can do is first do a rebuttal of the extension for opposition, and then do your whip speech. That's also an option. Same thing for this whip speaker, although it's not as important. But for the proposition whip speaker, you can choose to do rebuttal first, and then do your themes of the other stuff that's gone up. So yeah, that's a pretty quick recap of what BP is like. 5-minute speeches from everyone. POIs are welcome. Protected time 1 minute, I think, or 30 seconds. Minute? Okay, still a minute. All right, cool.
Sure, that was perfect. Now just please go over the 5 focus points.
5. Oh. Okay. Direct and implicit rebuttal. Okay, cool. So, direct and explicit rebuttal. That's pretty simple, I guess. It's just 2 different categories of rebuttal. Wait, isn't direct and implicit rebuttal?
Oh, I'm just saying, wait, I want to see that.
Oh, you want to see? Oh, okay. Okay, so this is how you want to do a rebuttal. You want to make things direct. You want to like, basically the step here is to say what their point is, so what you're going to rebut, to make it clear to the judges. I see that most of you guys do this already, so that's pretty good. And then explicitly state your rebuttal. So you have to make things clear, essentially. So basically, okay, so side opposition said yada yada yada. They're wrong because blah blah blah. That's basically how you do a direct or explicit rebuttal. The most important thing to do here is to clarify what you're saying, to make clear what you're rebutting. So if your point or your piece of rebuttal covers multiple arguments by the opponent, you have to make that clear. You have to say, so our rebuttal addresses the following points made by side proposition or side opposition. You have to make things clear what exactly you're going to rebut and how it destroys or breaks down their case. So basically why it's important. Yeah, okay, time filling. Now this is pretty self-evident here, right guys? Time filling is something like that is the most basic part of debate, really. Like, even if you don't really have good content, it's pretty important to learn to fill in your time. To like, in other words, BS your time if you really can't provide the content. But since you should be BSing, you should know how to time fill well, right? So, like I told a couple of you guys when I was giving advice, time filling really involves providing good content. So essentially when you're making, like beginning debaters often just make a statement and maybe make a quick explanation, but they don't put in enough content within. So you have to provide good examples, clear examples that really make your case concrete and also provide a solid explanation. And that's really the best way to fill in your time. And if you still have like perhaps a minute by the end of your speech, then you can simply make a quick conclusion of what you're doing and make a little bit of rhetoric for your final conclusion. But it's super, super important to fill in your time because that's the most basic part of debate. You want to take advantage of all the time you have. You want to take advantage of the opportunity to attack the other person or to use, or to present your own arguments properly. Like you'll find that in higher level debates, everybody runs out of time. They don't try to fill in time. It just happens that they use way too much time. So, filling time, pretty important for basic debate. Now, signposting. Okay, signposting is also super important because that's clarification. That's laying out clearly what you're going to do for the judges. Because the judge doesn't know what's going on in your head and he hasn't or she hasn't seen your notes. So they don't exactly know what you're going to talk about unless you actually say what you're going to talk about. So you're going to have to say things clearly. Like you're going to have to say, today I'm going to be talking to you about blah, 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 and my partner's going to be saying this. And then within every point you say, okay, so after you do your signpost, maybe you do some rebuttal. After rebuttal, you have to make it clear that you're moving on from rebuttal into your first point. So now, then you can say, okay, now I'm going to move on to my first point, which is yada, yada, yada. And you do that for every single point. So after you finish point 1, you say something along the lines of, I'm done point 1. You don't really have to say that. And you say, now I'm moving into my second point, which is, etc. Okay? And the most important thing though, is that the first proposition or opposition has to do this. But it's not just the first proposition or opposition. The second speaker, your partner basically, has to do that as well. So they have to present their own points. They have to tell you what they're saying. But they also should probably recap what their partner said. So if you're going second, you should say, so today I'm going to be talking to you about the third point on side proposition, which is, and during your rebuttal and reconstruction, you can also restate what your partner says, because keep in mind that everybody has short-term memory. The judges are probably, or at least assume that they're pretty stupid. So make it clear for them what you've been talking about. It's really important in signposting. Even top-level judges need some good signposting, or else they have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, POIs. POIs are pretty cool because they let you directly address what other people are saying. So they're important because they're a chance for like direct refutation, right when a person is making a speech. They allow you to engage with your opponent. Engage, okay? That's pretty important debate because if you're not engaging with your opponent, if you're not rebutting them, then it basically becomes a bunch of speeches that aren't really connected, and that's really boring. So POI is important because it allows you to directly engage with them, and it forces them to reply to you. So it's pretty important to do POIs, and it's also important to give POIs to make it look like you understand the round and you're actively participating in the round instead of just trying to get your speech done or something. Okay, so finally thematic summary. I kind of told you about it over there. It's really important to have thematic summary. Otherwise, your round's going to look really messy. It's going to look like you don't understand what's going on. You don't know the big picture. So it's pretty important to have this in your conclusions because you need to make it look like you know what's going on and to have a clear and easy to run through summary. So yeah, that's the focus.